Good evening, and welcome to the Sister Sanditon Season 2, Episode 3 review. So I don't have a cough drop in my mouth.
No, I've noticed.
Are you proud of me?
I'm very proud. I might need one here in a moment.
We'll see if I can make it through. But last week we talked about the second love triangle of the season.
Yes.
And this week we're going to talk about the third love triangle.
Love triangles all over the place this season.
And
all right.
so this one is going to be, of course, Allison and her two officers.
Yes.
Right? So we open with Charlotte and Allison waking up, correct? And,
yes.
And Allison is, she's on cloud 9. Since dancing with Captain Carter, I cannot eat or sleep for thinking of him.
Yes.
And
Charlotte. I was going to say, Charlotte says, yes, he must be an excellent dancer, as you've spoken all of 2 words to him.
Yes.
Which is
true.
Uh-huh. It's sort of like one of those little Disney romances. You know, they meet and they fall in love and get married in the span of 2 days.
She's in love already.
Yes.
And of course, as we'll see, he's going to start telling her about all of his exploits, which we know probably aren't
seem
true.
a little too good to be true. You know, she starts out,
well, and then we see our dear Charlotte, and she is teaching the girls French, right? Or she's studying French.
We want to talk about the little dream. She was saying, who are you dreaming of?
We do?
Well, isn't it this episode?
Oh, yes.
Yes, I wanted to say.
Yes, that's right.
Don't bypass the dream.
Oh, this is our mention of our dearest.
Well, yes. So,
tell us.
So, you know, Charlotte is having a harder time waking up. And she goes, oh, you still dreaming? Who are you dreaming of? You know, a certain colonel. She's like, what? Why would I be dreaming of him? That's what I say. Or she says, oh, your handsome new employer. She goes, oh, not Sydney, like not someone else, not Still. And I'm like, yes, Still.
Yes, it's been 2 years and we're still dreaming of him.
Exactly. We weren't even practically engaged to the man. We're only married.
Oh, dear.
Oh, so, you know, and look at, I mean, not to be mean, but look at who she's got to dream of now.
Well, they just
good old
can't,
Lennox.
They just can't touch his candle till I
No, it's just very hard to replace him.
Yes,
and of course she's still
over
hot.
him.
No, you know, and you could see when Allison asked her that, she was kind of like,
yeah, in other words,
you know,
yes.
I think she meant yes.
Of him.
Yes, I agree. I don't think she's quite moved on yet.
No,
It's only episode 3, so
yes,
that's fine.
Give her some time.
Give her some time, exactly.
Well, so Charlotte then is studying French to teach the girls.
Yes,
right?
she's studying up.
You noticed her hair again.
I have to comment because her hair was looking pretty good recently. It was much improved from the first episode, and now again, to me, it looked like she had just taken it and just thrown it up in this big sort of ponytail, and she had these big wispies that looked like they were like combed out curls, and the back was just like all messy, and I thought, oh, she looks like she's been up all night studying.
So in your opinion, she's regressed?
A little bit of regression with the hair. However, there are some continuity issues because then 5 minutes later when she arrives at Colburn's, her hair is all neat and tidy, and the curls that were all messy and everywhere are gone, and her hair is in a perfect bun.
Well, you're right then. I blame that on the continuity person.
Yes, the editing.
They missed it.
They
didn't think they had you in the audience that they would have to contest with it, did they?
Oh dear, perhaps
they thought no one would notice, but little do they know, Angelique would be in the audience watching their every ear.
What is there's a curl out of place.
That's right.
Yes.
That curl wasn't there in the last scene.
It's shocking, I'm sorry, but I can't help it.
And did you also notice Allison's dress in this?
Yes, I thought her dress looked very colonial. Now, we know that Lady D sort of does that cold colonial thing. She hasn't quite moved on from the 1700s, and she's stayed, you know, an old-fashioned garb. But Allison's, to me, she reminded me just of one of those little American Girl dolls.
Felicity.
Yes, Felicity, the little colonial American Girl doll.
Yes.
She had that little sort of reddish print, and then she had the sleeves that were a little long with the little eyelet coming out. Oh, she looks like, it was just a completely different...
Yeah, strange.
Yes, it's
maybe
strange
she
to
likes
me.
the retro look. I don't know.
Retro.
But anyway,
we had that back in those days.
I don't know. Well, apparently Charlotte has abandoned Georgiana, and so Arthur says he's going to look after her. Now, I thought this was funny because they kind of said that one of the reasons why she was coming there was to be with Georgiana
sort of to befriend Georgiana again, because Georgiana was in need of some guidance, companionship, or what have you. She doesn't have Sydney anymore as her guardian. She's got Tom, and she doesn't have Miss Griffiths, and everyone's gone. And
Charlotte takes that job, and it's kind of like
she takes on the governess.
You know, she's busy with her own life.
Yes.
And in fact, even at the very end, we'll notice that Georgiana says, "Well, now you have time to be with me again." Doesn't she say something later about?
Yes. And she's like, no. Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
Yes, it's very strange. She seems to be shirking her friend duties at this moment.
Well, when there's a man involved, who comes first? Right? Friends who?
I hadn't thought of that.
Now, Hankins and Georgiana Correct.
Yes.
Now, she gets a package,
Reverend Hankins,
right?
yes.
Which is a sketch of her done by Lockhart, and Hankins says, beware of Greeks bearing gifts.
Yes,
right?
and to me I thought, well, that's odd. Is he saying don't trust him?
Perhaps.
Because we know the Greeks and the gifts, they came and tried to fight instead, but
I thought it was funny how she made the joke about the elephants, right?
Oh, yes.
Common in Antigua, and she kept 5 of them.
Ever the little sweetie,
yes.
trying to pull the wool over the poor Hankins' eyes again, saying, oh, yes, they're so gullible, poor things.
But
she just likes to play with them. Yes.
I'm sure you were quite shocked by this.
Well, this was another one where I just thought, what in the world are they thinking? She had that chartreuse-coloured blouse, and perhaps they're trying to go with more of the island feel, like back to her roots, sort of those bright tropical colours.
Or maybe they're trying to compete with Bridgerton and
perhaps
spice it up a bit.
But it was just so odd because over the green blouse, she had on this white sort of chemise.
You mean under it? She had
over the green blouse. She had a green blouse on, and then over it, she had this white gown that looked like a nightgown.
It was under it.
That's what I'm saying. It was so odd.
Yes, it was like normally chartreuse would have been enough, but the 2 of them sandwiched together.
It just seemed strange. The
gown,
like
the white gown with
the white dress she had over it seemed like a nightgown to me. And I think normally in that time we see sort of like the white blouses underneath, and then they have their colored,
colorful little
the colorful little jacket, or the little, Charlotte's got that sort of little tank top dress that goes over. So it was odd to me.
Choice. It was an interesting choice.
It was a little garish.
You didn't think it worked.
I think I've said that word before when dealing with something else in this costumes. But
well,
it was a little bright,
dear. It's all right. Let's let it slide.
We'll let it slide.
Lennox,
it looked beautiful with his skin tone. I'll say that. The
bright
color.
Yes,
it was beautiful on her. Yes, and like I said, maybe it's the island. Sort of back to her Antiguan roots.
Perhaps. But of course, Lennox finds her on the beach, which he so often does. I don't know what they're doing.
They always meet on the beach.
They're always
Perhaps
out for an afternoon or morning ride.
Yes.
And he finds her on
Fancy
the beach.
Meeting you here.
This is kind of where we see him trying to put a little wedge in between Charlotte and Colburn, right?
Yes,
he's planting
I think
that little
so.
seed there, right?
Well, because he just found out in the episode prior that her employer was in fact Colburn, and he was like,
maybe, to retreat. The position's not for you. He's trying to tell her, you deserve respect. And who's to say she's not getting it?
Yes. I mean, I guess maybe he's talking about that it's difficult for her to win over her charges, but I just keep seeing this theme of him sort of overbearing on her, like, do this, do that, and I'll tell you what to do, and I'll tell you what to do, and I don't like that.
Well, and she kind of even says something like, well, do you doubt my ability? You know what I mean? It's like him trying to teach you, dumb little girl, let me tell you what to do.
Yes.
And he says, no, blah, blah, but, she's going to keep her distance. And he says, it sounds wise.
Yes, she's going to keep her job for now, but try to
keep my job.
Yes.
So anyway, I don't know where, he's obviously...
We'll see as the story unfolds what happens with this and why he is trying to...
The love triangle.
Yes.
Now, things are progressing with Georgiana and Lockhart.
If you want to call it progressing. Her throwing her portrait in his face again, being ever the charming little lady.
He's progressing, maybe, you know, and he says,
he's trying to progress.
I admire you, and, I would like to do so without your permission. You shouldn't have presumed to do so without my permission.
Shouldn't have presumed to draw me.
Right.
Do I need your permission to admire you? It's a bit forward.
I wish to know you better, and he's talking about how how would you like to be seen, right? And meanwhile, Mary tells Georgiana that she cannot really consider him as a potential suitor.
She doesn't think. Yes, I think that's when Miss Hankins has said, "Oh, he's thrown his hat in the ring."
It's like nowadays, what? When your mother tells you can't marry an actor, they don't make enough money. It's the same thing. The guy's a starving artist.
Right, he's a starving artist. And she said, the main reason that Mary wants her to get married is to kind of have someone to take care of her and to keep her fortune safe and not. She should someone provide you stability and care for you, and
he
obviously
can't support her.
Quite the opposite.
Right,
she can support him.
He
so
was
that makes me
at the mess dinner. She didn't like that, right?
Yes,
and then
Miss
Hankins, then of course,
speaking of the mess dinner,
Miss Hankins says no one has paid for it, which is interesting.
All of the shopkeepers in Sanditon have yet to be paid. The food, the wine, the renting of the
Honorable Colonel.
And Mary finds this very shocking.
Yes. All right. Well, let's talk about Leonora here, right?
Yes.
So they're looking for Leonora. Now, this is a very momentous scene here, right? And
Charlotte's looking
Colburn,
for Leonora.
Yes. In the stables with his horse, right? And the horse runs out of the barn.
The horse has been spooked.
And Charlotte apparently is the only one who can... She's the
horse whisperer. I was just going to say that.
Yes.
She's like the horse whisperer.
She can walk up and soothe him. Now, I would think that Colburn would know how to handle a horse.
I agree.
After many years of being around horses.
Here's what is so funny.
Not to say that Charlotte couldn't handle a horse either.
No.
But I think he would do just fine.
I agree. I mean, he's the horseman here who's got this horse that he's nuzzling in the next scene, with his putting their foreheads together, which incidentally was exactly what Charlotte and Sydney did in that scene in season 1 right before he went off to London. That's all I could think of. Colburn's doing it to the horse, the same thing Charlotte did to Sydney.
Oh dear.
Maybe there's a fourth love triangle between the horse. I don't know.
Charlotte, Colburn, and Colburn's horse. Oh dear.
But it's just so funny. She's like, oh, I grew up around horses. Well, she grew up around everything, basically. I mean, she's the Vitruvian man who's like, she's the Vitruvian woman. She's like, I've got my hand in everything here.
Yes.
She can rescue the
we
fallen.
Get it. She's capable.
She's the nurse.
She's the
horse. Yes, and to me it's just overkill because, like you said, he's very. And she even says later in the scene, like, you're so close to your horse. Well, if he was that close, you would think he'd be able to go. Which is all she did.
Yeah, but of course he's in awe.
Yes, he's in awe.
She can handle the horse.
Yes, he looks at her and he's like,
yes.
He doesn't need another reason to be in awe of her, probably, but
no.
Perhaps his coals are burning, if you know what I mean.
Oh dear, well, must we go there with that analogy?
I've got to think of some good jokes for his name, Colburn.
All right.
People keep saying it's a slow burn.
Yes.
He's a Colburn.
Right,
slow burn, Colburn.
Go with it. Now, Edward has been summoned, and he sees Clara, and he says that it's not true, of course.
That he's not the father.
That he's not the father.
She throws her under the bus, and,
Which we all know he is.
Of course, he's a scoundrel.
And then he steals one of Esther's letters.
Now, this was shocking. Now, some of the viewers I know, speaking with some of my friends that had seen, I said, now, did you see that? I think it was a little bee as the wax seal on the letter. We assume it's from Babington, or Babbers, as we like to call him. And other people were like, oh, really? I didn't know what that was. So it was kind of hard to see, but if you were watching, you saw, you think it's from Babbers. Yes. So what is he up to? What's he playing at? Is he going to read it? Is there some revelation there?
Oh, you mean Edward?
Edward,
I
yes.
thought you meant Babbers. What's he up to? That's right. What is he off doing? Lord knows.
We'll talk about that later.
Well, hopefully he's up to normal things.
Yes. No, I just mean, once she starts, well, now you've made me want to talk about what's coming later.
We'll move on. Now, Esther is sick from the herbs that she's been taking.
Which I felt so bad for, because Miss Hankins had gone to her and saying, I have this midwife, this woman that can help you. And we thought,
she's a quack.
Let's
just put it bluntly. She's a quack.
She's killing her with these herbs. So that's another dead end for poor Esther.
Yes.
And we feel bad, and Dr. Fuchs is saying, here, I'll give you my tincture. And I thought, why didn't he do that in the first place?
Well, he'll tell about that.
We'll find out later, yes.
Now,
someone answered questions.
Yes, Georgiana and Arthur are having a snack. Now, I thought this scene was hilarious, because did you notice that Arthur was cutting his little strawberry?
Yes, perhaps he is on a diet after all.
I think he must be.
He had one strawberry on his plate.
Was Mickey's Christmas Carol, when little Mickey, who was Bob Cratchit, is cutting the olive in half.
Yes,
for their Christmas dinner.
Yes, they have no food.
The goose is about the size of a quarter.
It's a canary.
He cuts the little
olive. He
olive.
cuts the olive and shares it. Yes, he had one lone strawberry on his plate, and he was slicing it.
Well, he's a cheap date, I guess. I don't know, but
I guess the kiwi.
Yeah,
yes, I thought it was amusing.
Their tea was quite lacking.
Well, I guess once you cut out the sugar, there's not much to treat yourself.
There's not much else.
A little fresh fruit.
All right. Now,
so they're talking. They have a nice little moment where she's talking about Lockhart, because Arthur keeps pressing Lockhart. He thinks that Lockhart's like the end-all be-all here.
Yes.
And, she's like, well, I just, I don't know. And she just starts to kind of talk about, every time I've walked into a room, people are always looking at me, and they are always, whispering about me, and I've just always been the subject of, I want to know who this person is, and, she's just like, and of course Arthur has come from the complete opposite.
Now.
Yes, and Arthur shares a little bit, as we've seen him more and more blossom this season. He shares, well, I've had the opposite problem.
Right.
I'm completely invisible to everyone.
Right.
And,
but Arthur clearly likes Lockhart.
But he said, and she says, yes, and she reiterates, and Mary doesn't trust him, which I am with Mary. I'm in Mary's camp. I don't know yet. I'm not sure. The jury's out. But he says, well, perhaps Mary doesn't know you or Lockhart.
Right.
So we don't know.
Arthur is inclined to trust him.
He is.
Now, Charlotte and Colburn, are looking for
They're
Leonora
still looking for her,
right?
yes.
They're in the rain.
I think he says, I'll accompany you, I'll look.
And
then,
she, of course, doesn't
he
mind.
He gives her coat to her. And,
yes, I know. They didn't show that part, but then we see her with his coat.
Yes. What has happened in the bushes since they've emerged from them? We didn't know. He gave her a coat.
She says that there's no man that she admires, no man alive that she admires as much as her father.
And I think that was done on purpose. No man alive, because Sydney, of course, has passed away.
Right. And she says perhaps you'll come to realize in time.
She
that
says, wait, now why does she say that? There's no man alive I'd mind. Oh, she says, okay, you take so much pains, with your horse, and you're caring for your horse, and you're nuzzling him like you're so, my baby, sort of.
Yes.
But she says, but you hardly know the girls.
Right.
And, there's no man alive who I admire as much as my father, but they don't even know you. And so she's saying there's there's a missed opportunity here. The girls need to know you. And I think sort of within that, Charlotte's wanting to know him too, which she does say later.
But then, of course,
he says, what does he say? Something like,
perhaps you'll come to realize in time that's for the best.
And to me, it's
that's
very
supposed to be foreboding, or
yes, to me it seemed foreboding and rather cryptic. It's like, oh, is he holding this deep dark secret? Is he hiding something that he's going to
axe murderer?
Yes,
past or something.
Why can't the girls get to know him?
But maybe we'll find out. I don't know. Next season.
I don't think he's as scary as he makes himself out to be. Look at him. He's a sweet little. He looks like a little lamb.
Yes. Well, anyway, he finds Leo and he leaves and.
Try not to lose her again.
Yes.
It's kind of cute, there's a little...
we find out that this was important that you liked this, or thought it was
when
strange.
they sit down to have their
find out
picnic.
that the girls' mothers were twins. Well, no, we don't need to talk... do we need to talk about the picnic here? All right, well we find out that the girls' mothers were twin sisters.
Yes.
And Colburn says, yes, he can come and spare time to join, right?
The picnic.
The ladies' picnic,
okay.
Yes. And this is when he gives her the little cornflower.
Yes.
And that was, of course, the best scene yet, kind of.
Yes. Well, they're
great
discussing
pictures of that.
Yes, they're discussing the flowers and the fauna, and of course Augusta's showing up Charlotte again. She knows more French than her.
Yes.
She knows more flowers than her.
Yes.
Poor Charlotte's out of water here.
Yes.
She's in the deep end.
Yes.
But they're talking about the flowers. She goes, oh, the cornflower, it's my favorite. And yes, he goes, well, then you should have it.
I loved that.
That was a very
I did like that
sweet.
Scene. But the part
moment.
that you were confused about is that they said the mothers were twin sisters.
Yes. So here's I'm gonna not date myself, but since I've already seen the end, there is a point where he says we married young. Colburn and Lucy, his wife, Alexander and Lucy. He says we married young. So to me, I'm thinking, okay, they're twin sisters, the mother and the aunt, and yet there's 9 years age difference between the two girls.
Is it 9?
I believe, she's ready to be out in society. She's at least 16, 17, 18, something like that, right? She's ready, she's overdue, and the little Leonora is 9, I think she says 9. And so
why the age gap if the mothers were the same age?
Yes. Wouldn't they? And if Colburn and Lucy had married young, for pity's sake, the aunt must have been a child bride. She must have been about 12. How on earth could they have children 9 years apart?
Once again, dear, maybe the writers didn't think you'd be watching.
Yes, discrepancies
that no one would notice.
No,
well, moving right along.
Several people have mentioned this, not just I.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if they will
ever. Ones.
Yes, I'm wondering if they will ever sort of come back to that and give us a little bit of clarity.
We shall see.
Yes.
Maybe season
and I think there's a little bit there where Augusta says, oh, she was always happier with us, and Aunt Lucy was always happier with us when she was in London, and Colburn sort of snaps at her and is like, you don't remember it. You were a child.
Right.
And so we're thinking again, what is going on here? We need to be filled in on some details.
There's some details we're missing. Now, in a strange twist of fate, Esther has to deliver her step-brother, ex-boyfriend's baby.
Yes. Sounds like an episode of Jerry Springer, doesn't it?
Exactly.
And she's practically dragging poor Clara up the stairs. She's tripping over her gowns.
This whole episode, we see that Esther is put through the ringer.
Yes, the whole episode. It's been
this
very
whole time
painful.
we've seen Esther is just going through a ton of pain. She wants a child so bad she has to watch as this other mother doesn't care for her child, and so they kind of keep coming back to that through the whole episode.
And she gets very vulnerable in this.
All right,
this episode.
Let's move on to the fair.
The fair.
Or the farce, as I like to call it. So, Charlotte volunteers to go for the first ride in the hot air balloon, right?
Yes, everyone seems to be afraid of it.
Yes,
it's new to everyone.
The Laurel and Hardy soldiers here.
I'm sorry.
Bumbling little...
They are
falling all over each other.
Absolute buffoons.
To
How
me,
could they have won a war?
I thought, is this supposed to be a
I thought it was a joke.
Did we switch to a comedy from a drama?
I agree. I thought it was a joke.
No one's holding on. They've all let go. And then, Arthur, and he's getting in.
Part of it was the camera would cut away, and all of a sudden the rope was gone. And then it would cut away again, and all of a sudden the rope was 10 feet in front of them.
Runs into Arthur.
Ran into Arthur. Saves the day. I thought he was going to be carried off into sea.
And there you have it. It was a painful scene for me.
Well, and it was a little bit awkward in the basket, or the flying hamper, as Arthur called it. It was a little bit awkward in there too. They really don't say anything to each other, but of course, did we say, of course, Lennox volunteers to go up with Charlotte, right?
Yes.
So they can be together. And I think someone said he has a fear of heights, or did he say it or something? He looked a little bit woozy. But, she could have fell into his arms at one point as the balloon got away, and so they had that little moment. But to me, I don't see any chemistry I don't think we're meant to, honestly. No. I just...
the conversation was basically non-existent. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, she brings up Colburn.
Yes, and then she said, what did she say? But about Colburn, I don't think there's anything wrong with him. I think he's just grieving over his wife.
Yes,
he's just grieving.
Nice weather we're having. By the way, Colburn is just grieving his wife. Okay.
I think they just needed to stick that in there somewhere, and they said, let's put it in here.
Yes,
as the only poignant dialogue in the basket.
He then proceeds to tell her the truth and says Colburn stole his girlfriend and destroyed her.
Lucy was my girlfriend first, basically, and Colburn stole her.
And what did we all think of that?
What? Yeah, what in the world? And to me, again, I'm thinking some sort of weird Wickham Darcy, parallel of something's not right here. There's something askew. There's something we don't know.
Yes.
And so it's a little bit...
we didn't naturally think, well, Colburn's at fault.
No.
We know there's two sides to the story,
yes,
right?
I agree. We did not automatically go to Colburn being at fault.
And I don't think she did either.
No, because Colburn, even though he seems mysterious, somehow he seems sweeter.
Yes.
To me.
But she is confused, I'm sure.
She is, definitely.
I think at this point she probably thinks Lennox is an honourable man.
Well, he's an officer, and they tend to think that, yes.
Well, and has he done anything to show himself as not being honourable yet?
That's true.
Not that she knows.
Right.
No.
So
we're learning, though, about maybe his debts, and he hasn't paid the thing, and so we're starting to put the pieces together.
Yes.
Like, maybe he's not all, he's...
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we've established that the flying hamper is, in fact, dangerous, and, of course, now everyone wants a ride.
Right. When everyone
wants to risk their lives.
When everyone thought it looked scary, nobody wanted to ride. And then as soon as they saw Charlotte almost drift out to sea, they said, I'll join. It was very strange.
It was strange.
It was very
strange.
Let
us move on from that distasteful scene.
To another farce. Another farce. When the shopkeepers start chasing Tom through the streets of Sanditon, to me, it was like a scene out of The Music Man. These caricatures of these funny little townspeople, like, bring me back get his credentials, man, get that man's papers. And I thought, are we going to laugh? Is there going to be a joke here? And Tom's going to say, they're kidding or something. Right. But no, they weren't kidding. They were literally running after him and shut the door.
Chase because Lennox hasn't paid the bills and he's running into. Doesn't he go inside the house?
Yes, he slams the door. Yes, I'll talk to you tomorrow. He slams the door, and you're just like, what in the world is happening?
Over the top for me.
It was a little strange.
Yes,
out of place.
But anyway,
perhaps,
Tom rushes to tell Lennox that he needs to pay up, right? But instead, he somehow gets talked into gambling again.
And this time,
Tom,
he's not.
We make a good team.
Oh, you're right.
And this time he loses.
This time, like I was going to say, yes, he's not quite as lucky as he was. Is your lace tucker slipping?
Yes, it is slipping.
Lydia's lace tucker has slipped, mother. Yes, and this time he's not quite as lucky as he was the first go, and he has lost a small fortune, £100. And in those days, that was quite a lot.
Yes, once again, he's a fool.
An absolute fool. And, we keep going back to this theme of, has he learned nothing from last season?
No, he never does.
Gambling and spending.
I
he'd already told Arthur, no speculating and all this stuff. And well, I'm not happy with him.
I thought that the final scene was interesting. Charlotte is arranging a bouquet from Lennox, but looking at a tiny bunch of cornflowers from Colburn.
Yes.
That was very telling.
Yes, and again, you see the contrast of the two men built into their bouquets, into their flowers. Yes. The one is, yes, it was wildflowers. Right?
But as we know, he didn't even pick it himself.
Did we talk about Allison and... Did we miss a page? Was that this episode?
It wasn't important. It wasn't important. Oh, were they?
Allison and Fraser had a little moment.
I don't think
in the rain.
Did they? Well, you must have
skipped over it.
Talk about it.
Let me talk about it. We have a few minutes. So back when it was sort of a parallel, Charlotte and Colburn were in the rain.
Okay.
And then Lennox and Allison were in the rain. Yes. Somehow we missed it. We got so distracted with Charlotte and Colburn and see their love blossoming and burning.
He was sent to pick flowers.
He was sent to pick the flowers. Declan Fraser was sent to pick the flowers for Charlotte.
Right. For Lennox
to give to her. He can't even pick the flowers himself.
Yes.
It's not quite romantic.
Yes.
But so he was picking the flowers and Allison happened upon him. She was picking flowers for the May Day.
I don't know.
Well, she was making a crown
for fun.
Or something.
That's what they did for fun back then. Right. Yeah. They pick flowers. And it starts to rain.
So it starts to run. And they run together to a little, alcove. And it was so romantic to me. It sort of reminded me of, I don't know, what's that, the other scene in Sound of Music?
I was
going
to say
Sound of Music? Yes, and they go to the gazebo and it's raining. We're all just on the same wavelength.
Yes,
and
the rain is always so romantic, isn't it?
Yes,
it's in real life and it ruins your hair. Right in front of your date and it looks like, now I look like crap and my mascara
and your mascara's dripping. Yes, exactly. But back then it was so romantic.
Yes.
And, they have a little moment where they're joking around. And I just feel like there's some chemistry there that's quite apparent, even though
they're giving us more chemistry there than they're giving us with Charlotte and her men.
Yes,
honestly.
I think so. Well,
we were just
Charlotte is still a little closed, and so it's hard to have that chemistry. But yes, her and Fraser, even though she's like, of course she's still professing her love for Captain Carter, they have these little moments, and he's like, oh, I'm just, I'm a nobody. She's like, yes. So he's like, what do you think of me or something? And she goes, oh, you're coarse. What does she say? She says some things. Yes. You're coarse. You're a typical soldier,
Right.
And he makes these jokes, and he's just got that dry sense of humor. And he makes her laugh.
Yeah, they have a cute relationship.
And they have a nice little rapport. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with them.
Yes, I love them.
Because I would like something to happen.
They're the couple to watch.
Yes, I think so.
Well, Charlotte then. Here's. What was I? Oh, don't tell me we forgot something else.
What was I? I was saying something about the 2 bouquets from the men.
Well,
at the end,
at the very end, Charlotte is looking at the 2 bouquets.
And that's what we were starting to say. The 2 bouquets represent sort of the 2 men, and Lennox is, this
way
sort
you're
of
saying that bouquet residence,
lady of the house.
Take a tell me watching way too much PBS.
Fans of PBS, yes.
The bouquet residence. Okay. So anyway, Charlotte has the 2 bouquets. I can't stop now. I'm sorry, Dad. I shouldn't have gone there. I couldn't help myself. Hyacinth.
Room for a pony. So she's got the 2 bouquets, and one of them is, picked from someone else, and this sort of overdone, like big old leafy, wild green, all these
which also seems very familiar.
Yes.
It's in some romantic comedy, or 10 of them, I don't know. You always see
Sensibility. There were 2 contrasting bouquets.
That's it.
These are not hothouse, but these are wildflowers, right? She says, Willoughby, I gathered those on my way over. I
knew it looked familiar.
You're right.
You just reminded me. Sensibility.
Yes. Because Colonel Brandon brings those hothouse roses or whatever, and then Willoughby brings the little...
I picked these little wildflowers.
These are not from the hothouse, she says. So anyway, it's sort of the same type thing to me. Even though they're not from the hothouse, they look more like that, and
it's showing us that she is falling for Colburn.
I think it's clear.
She's looking at the cornflowers, right? So, is her heart being swayed in a certain direction? Tune in next time to watch as the battle for Charlotte's heart is played out on the archery field.
Ooh.
So that should be a very interesting episode. I'm looking forward to discussing
I can't wait. And in the meantime, please find us on Facebook. Follow us on Facebook as the Sisters Sanditon. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our videos, comment on our videos. We are on Instagram. We do lots of little live pop-up videos there. We're on Twitter sometimes when we remember to tweet. So please follow us on all of those platforms if you can remember. And we'll see you next time. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.
How could we have missed that scene with Fraser and Allison?
It's because I moved
Page
this
2.
up to here.
You
and
moved.
That skipped this
you
one
skipped
little
over with the
section,
girls, mothers, and the twin sisters. Fraser and Allison. She says it seems there's no escaping you. That's what I wanted to say. It's the same line that Sydney says to Charlotte in season 1.
I'm sorry.
And we missed it.
Sorry,
she says, and that's the other part I wanted to get
Sydney said that. There's no escaping.
Yeah, no, something like that. Oh, Miss Hayward.
They've taken from their own show.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, let alone Sense of Sensibility and Pride and Prejudice. They just take the lines from season 1.
Repurposed and recycled.
Right, well,
and that's what I wanted to say. Remember, she said he seemed like a typical soldier, Spartan, coarse, and unrefined. That's what I wanted, those 3 words.
You liked those 3
words.
I
love those words.
I'm sorry I cut them down.
And she was so mean to him, but they were still flirting. I loved why
and this is something else we missed.
Something else.
Look at this. Poor Carter. I wrote, he's no boxing champ.
Yes. Not like Sydney was he? Poor Carter. He seems to lose in everything.
Yes.
He can't box. He can't
fence.
He can't fence. He can't
recite Cooper. However you say it.
Cooper. And he can't swim as we'll find out later.
That's right. And he can't do anything. So there you go. He gets Declan's Book of Poems.
Oh dear. So as far as the love triangle is concerned, I don't think Carter is going to come out on top.
I don't either.
We shall see if poor Allison gets duped.
If she has half a brain, she'll figure it out pretty soon. I don't know. Maybe by the next episode.
Oh dear. Maybe by our next outtake. All right.
See. Wait.
What? What did we miss?
Did we put in that Declan was kind of white?
We forgot to put the Declan. Oh gosh, we forgot all the juicy bits about Captain Carter. Declan. All right.
Could have used a little bit of a spray tan.
Now, I have to say, if he had seen season 1. He would have seen Stringer and Sydney were very muscular and masculine and, boxing, fighting, build. And then you'd think he would have just tried to hit the gym a little bit. But he looked like a poor little, he looked like a poor little wretched Asian man from one of Dickens' little
Now,
workhouses.
listen, we love Declan.
Of course I love him, but I was just shocked to see that he hadn't
So you wanted
put
more
as much
muscle there.
put as much effort into his physique as the other men from
You're
season
tough to
1.
please, aren't you, dear? Well, he's not Sydney.
Like I said,
I've
I've said, I am a little bit spoiled from season 1.
Yes.
And I thought he would have put a little bit more effort into his
But do
physique.
you know that I believe I said in season 1, now would someone actually be that ripped as
That's
Sydney?
true.
No,
That's
they
true.
would not. They weren't
Probably
hitting
not.
Gold's Gym every day. Remember I talked
I
about
think that line
in
is in
season
one of-
1. Yes. They would not have had his 8-pack.
You're right.
And muscles popping
You're
out
right.
of every
And he
square
would have been
inch.
very white. Let's remember.
And he would have been white
He's
as
not
a
only British, he's
sheet.
Irish.
That's right.
Yes.
Yes,
But
of course. They didn't go to the tanning bed.
Look,
they
and
didn't go to Target
yes.
and get the spray tan. So, all right, now leave the poor man alone.
And we have said before,
This is the longest freaking outtake I've ever seen.
in video number 2, part 2, we have said before, you know how we can't help but compare the men from season 1 to the season 2. And you have pointed out, my dear sister, that, look, in Jane Austen's time, like you said, especially in Britain, the men would have been pale and they probably would have been a wee bit scrawny because, like you say, they're not hitting up the gym.
Right.
So the men in this season, not that they're pale and scrawny, so to speak, but they look like normal men
They
from the
look
Regency
like normal
period.
Jane Austen
Normal,
men. If we
yes,
had
normal
not had
Regency
Sydney,
gentlemen.
we would have thought that Colburn was just perfect and just fine for her. The problem was they gave us Sydney. I stand by that fact, and
you're
they
right.
spoiled it for
You're
everyone.
right. And to be
He
honest,
looks just like every other. Look at
I was going to say,
who was opposite Keira Knightley?
oh,
That
Matthew
look.
McFadden.
We had
Now,
Matthew McFadden.
Don't crucify
Look at
me.
him. He was Darcy.
Everyone loves him, and they think he's so handsome. I never thought he was handsome at all. And that was like the first leading role he'd ever played. He was always like the goofy,
I'm just
drunken
saying,
brother.
usually they're kind of
Yes.
pale, tall,
Yes.
gangly. They're not, GQ models walking down the runway like Sydney.
Exactly.
So
They're handsome enough to tempt me and to tempt the other ladies of the Regency.
the problem
They
is
are.
Sydney
The
spoiled
problem
it
is
for
that
us.
Sydney did sort of spoil
Now leave it at that.
Then we
dear.
shall leave it.
Goodbye and good night.
Good night.
On a more serious note, Angelique has an apology to make.
Well,
Go ahead, dear.
not so much an apology, more of an
A retraction?
explanation. No, an explanation of myself. Now, last week's episode, in our review of episode 2, I made a comment about Charlotte's acting in one moment when she was shouting at Colburn and saying, "The girl without a mother, without a father," and I thought it seemed a bit stiff, maybe not quite as natural as our Charlotte has been in the past. And my dear sister said, "Everyone is going to rake you over the coals for saying anything negative about our dear Charlotte." And I said, and I thought about it. And I said to myself, now look, in last season's reviews, did we have negative comments to make? Some, yes. And it is a review, and it is my opinion. And there is no
bad actress.
No, there is no season or show that is absolutely perfect in every way.
That's right. Even in season 1, I said I didn't think Sydney did a great job when she came down
That's
the stairs
right.
in
You
the
said
gold
you
dress.
didn't think
Just
he showed enough in his eyes,
on
like
his face.
wonder. Yes, love. Yes. And we pointed out things that were anachronistic. We pointed
lust. Or were we going to say love?
What? What did I say?
I said you didn't show anything on his face, and you said yes, wonder, love. And I thought you were going to say lust, and I was like, well, I suppose that would work.
I think it could be lust and love. At that point, he should have shown both.
All right.
So, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Not
yes,
everyone.
we point
No one
out.
is perfect.
No, we point out some
Including
flaws.
you, dear
Of
sister.
course, I've made plenty of blunders. And, like we said, we point out things that we like, we point out some things we don't like. It's our opinion, and it is a review. And no review is worth its salt if we cannot be honest and say, here's what we liked, here's what we didn't like.
Right.
And yes, there are flaws in every show we've ever seen.
Yes.
But do we still love it? Of course. And of course, any period drama we are going to watch, and we are going to be thrilled that we have that venue and that avenue to explore. And so we still love our dear Charlotte, we still love our dear Sanditon, no matter what.
Yes.
And that is all I'm going to say. I shall not apologize for my opinion. It is mine and mine
That's all
alone.
I'm going to say on the subject. Goodbye.
Can't you just hear the waves?
Oh.
I don't know. I'm in a mood.